The old Zen master went to Squire Li's house to take shelter from the rain. Unexpectedly, the servant showed a troubled expression and said, "Venerable master, my master has always had no connection with monks and Taoist priests. I'm afraid he won't allow you to come in." As he spoke, he repeatedly waved his hands, signaling the old master to leave quickly. Seeing this, the old master still pleaded, "I will leave as soon as the rain lets up a little. I won't disturb you for long." The servant sighed and said, "Then I'll go ask my master. Only if he agrees will I dare to open the door. After us." Eyeing this, he closed the door with a creak, and the sound of his footsteps gradually faded away. The old master stood under the eaves, but because the eaves were narrow, he was still drenched by the slanting rain. He gazed at the pouring rain. It didn't seem like it would stop anytime soon. A cold wind blew, and he couldn't help but shiver, tightening his monastic robe around himself. After what felt like a long time, footsteps were finally heard from inside the door. When the door opened, a guy, the servant wore an apologetic expression. "I'm truly sorry, but my master does not permit you to enter." Time passed swiftly, and 3 years went by. In the city, the Li family estate was adorned with lanterns and decorations, filled with joy and celebration. The 50-year-old patriarch Li had just taken a new concubine. Her name was Yulian, gentle and delicate in appearance, and even more remarkably, kind-hearted by nature. She often read virtuous texts and was fond of charitable deeds. One day, Yulian pleaded with Patriarch Li to accompany her to Qingjing Temple outside the city to pray for blessings. Though Li had little interest in such matters, he cherished his new concubine and agreed. At Qingjing Temple, Yulian prayed devoutly, while Li wandered around the temple grounds. He had never been one to believe in monks or Taoist priests and seldom set foot in temples. As he strolled, his eyes suddenly fell upon a longevity blessing plaque in a side hall, and on it was clearly written his own name, Li Mingyuan. Startled, Li rubbed his eyes and leaned in for a closer look. It was indeed his name. How could this be? Just as he was lost in thought, a young novice sweeping nearby caught his attention.
Liu Ria
Over and asked, "Young master, why is my name on this longevity blessing plaque?" The novice glanced at the plaque and shook his head. "I do not know, but 3 years ago, my master returned late one night in the rain. He said he had encountered a benefactor with whom he had no car, nduyxinhtrai, so he wrote this name and enshrined it here. Every day since, my master has offered prayers for this benefactor, hoping to transform an unfortunate connection into a virtuous one." The young novice's words struck Li like a bolt of lightning, tearing open a long-sealed memory. That rainy night 3 years ago, the old Zen master, he had dismissed him as just another charlatan among monks and priests and had refused him without a second thought. Yet, not only had the old master borne no grudge, but he had also established a longevity blessing plaque for him. Day after day, he sought a child. Old Master Li stood where he was, his heart in turmoil. He recalled the night of the torrential rain, the voice of the old Zen master pleading outside the door, and his own cold refusal. His cheeks burned with shame. "Master, what troubles you?" Yulian, having finished her prayers, approached and noticed the strange look on old Master Li's face, asking with concern. Old Master Li let out a long sigh and slowly recounted the past events. After listening, Yulian said softly, "That old master truly has a kind heart. An ordinary person, having faced such cold treatment, would inevitably hold a grudge. Yet he repaid your disdain with virtue and sought blessings for you. Such magnanimity is truly admirable." As they spoke, an old Zen master approached slowly, the very one from 3 years before. His complexion was rosy, his gaze clear, and upon seeing old Master Li, he smiled gently and said, "Benefactor,
It has been a while.
I trust you have been well." Old Master Li immediately flushed crimson and stepped forward, bowing deeply. "Venerable Master, I was ignorant back then and offended you. I beg for your forgiveness. The old Zen master helped old Masterly to his feet and said, Benefactor, you speak too gravely. Connections may be deep or shallow. Timing may be early or late. That you have come to the temple Toda. Why means the time for a virtuous connection has arrived. Old Masterly sighed with emotion. I am deeply ashamed. Venerable Master, you bear no grudge and instead sought blessings for me. Such magnanimity leaves me overwhelmed with shame. The old Zen master smiled serenely and said, The Dharma teaches equality between foe and kin and compassion for all. Benefactor, there is no need to dwell on this. From that day on, Squire Lee, now a chief patron of the Serene Temple, not only donated money but also frequently visited the temple to listen to the teachings of the Dharma, widely fostering good connections. He converted part of his residence into a charity hall, providing shelter for the homeless. During times of famine, he opened his granaries to distribute food and aid the victims. From his former stingy self, he had transformed into a benevolent philanthropist. One day, Squire Lee asked the old Zen master, Master, back when I treated you so poorly, why did you still pray for my blessings? The old Zen master smiled faintly and said, That night, I stood outside your gate, drenched by the rain. I was indeed in a rather sorry state. But then it occurred to me that since we were strangers, you were under no obligation to help me. All I could do was pray for your blessings, hoping that one day, when the conditions for goodness ripened, you would naturally embrace the Dharma. He paused before continuing, All things in this world arise from causes and conditions. The rain that night was the condition for our meeting. Your refusal meant the time was not yet ripe. Today, your acts of kindness are the fruition of good conditions. Why cling to the gains and losses of a single moment? Hearing this, Squire Lee sighed with emotion and said, Master, you repaid resentment with virtue, transforming negativity into goodness. Such great virtue. The old Zen master shook his head and replied, Not at all. I merely acted in accordance with the Dharma. All beings in this world have their own causes and conditions. When someone treats me well, I am grateful. When someone treats me poorly, I understand. By maintaining an equanimous mind and treating all with compassion, negative conditions naturally transform into positive ones, and good conditions are further enhanced.